Hello? Okay.
Going? Okay. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Would you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Rao. Councilman Hunter.
Present.
Mayor Rao.
Here.
Councilman Laverie. Councilman Fitzsimons. Here. Here.
Okay. Are we in compliance with our open meeting laws?
Yes.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment related to the items on our agenda tonight? Nothing from the, okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Councilman, did you see the did you see the minutes about the wicking undergarments?
I did see that, and
I'll second the
I'll go back
motion.
and redo it.
I'll second the motion on the consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Items for discussion, possible action. Approve or deny Alexandria Johnson request for conditional use permit at number 190 Front Street to use the garage for their welding business and workshop.
So Craig, did you get any of those papers back from citizens?
Yeah,
They're all listed.
Yep.
And they approved last night at the planning meeting as well.
there were no objections from the community there either, were there? No.
No.
I saw they were attached, but you didn't get any phone calls or any other correspondence other than that?
And this was talked about at the last meeting, correct? For them to just make it, so.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve Alexandria Johnson's request for the CUP at 190 Front Street to use that garage for their welding business and workshop.
And I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve this Alexandra Johnson's request for the conditional use permit to use their garage as a welding business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, approve or deny Leonard Smith's request for a conditional use permit at 509 Main Street to use his office space for a rental unit.
So there was actually no action that was done on this last night. While Mr. Smith was here yesterday, we discovered that there was really no action because he was just converting a bedroom into his garage for family use. So we can just table this item and we let Mr. Smith know that he's free to use his garage room for family and friends.
Okay, we'll just table this one then. Okay, approve or deny Bud Sanders Naughty Pine Restaurant and Lounge request for a off-premises permit on October 2nd to serve alcoholic beverages at the Super Park during the second annual Caliente Mountain Bike Fest.
That was a mouthful there.
Mr. Sanders, we'll ask you to
Yeah,
go to the front.
yeah. You'll have to turn that, yeah. there.
I guess I don't come enough feet to get the protocol anymore. This association has been trying to establish the off-road bicycle sports up here for several years. Had some real good successes putting in some real nice trails. It's a real unobtrusive sport. It doesn't damage the environment. All the people that have come up here and the fellow small business owners, I know totally support them. They ask us to, with their convention October 2nd, to provide some food and a small beverage stand. And that's why I'm requesting conditional use permit for the beverage stand.
Yep, we did the same thing 2 years ago. It was canceled last year, and I think like Mr. Sanders said, it's a good for the community, good for them, and it's nice to have alcohol out there at the venue. So if you guys don't have any other discussion, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve Bud Sanders Naughty Pine Restaurant and Lounge for the off-premises liquor license to serve on October 2nd for the Bike Fest.
And I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Bud's request to use their off-road premise or off-premises permit for October 2nd at the Super Park. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Thanks, Bud. Okay. Approve or deny corrective action plan for 2020 audit.
Greg, that's you. Oh, you want me to approve that? I'm just kidding.
Just explain.
So, yeah, so this is, I got this from Stacy this week. Basically, this was our corrective action plan from the audit, not this most recent fiscal year, but the prior. Most of that, I mean, you probably read through that a little bit. It's basically just our plan going forward. We will probably see a similar plan come out of this most recent fiscal year that closed because we're in the same situation at that close of year as we were prior. But moving forward, we hope to not have a 3-page list of corrective actions.
Sure.
I can provide this whole thing to you. It's in the support of the meeting, but I can get that for you.
Yeah, what it was is, when we do the audit, there's some certain protocols that we failed to do, and there's nothing big, serious, but things that we need to show that we're correcting, is what it is.
Right.
Give you some details on what it is.
Yeah, I can provide that. I can give you some examples if you prefer right now, but I can, okay.
Can,
I can provide the whole report.
My favorite part on here is that the new city clerk will be, has reviewed the Nevada Department of Taxation calendar due dates and will know all the timely, we'll file everything in a timely manner from this day forward. Thank you.
that's a lot of what this report is it's when we fail to meet a deadline for turning something in, or if we overspend in a budget that we didn't have planned, we got to show that we're not going to let that happen again and how we're going to fix that. I make a motion that we approve the audit report, the corrective action plan for the 2020 audit.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the corrective action plan for the 2020 audit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Update concerning ongoing grants administration. The grants update.
So we've got the 100% construction documents. Probably haven't been able to review those yet, but we received those, and basically that's just that was our next step in the process for the CDBG grant and the restoration on the depot.
Yeah, that's got all of the plans on what they're gonna do, the windows, all of, everything that needs to be done.
This
And
massive document is the same. That's just kind of
Yeah.
some of it, but this is the full.
this is,
in
this
addition
is the
to-
drawings, and
Exactly.
that's the written plan.
Yep.
Want to look at that, Sean, or you all right with that, or you
I'm
did?
good, yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Appoint, appointed contract personnel reports, city clerk's report.
Ongoing work on the financials. Continue to work with Stacy from Dan MacArthur's office. Met with her on Monday this week, or on Tuesday, I'm sorry. And she provided me with a binder, a general ledger binder, where she's gone through and looked at some of the accounts and where certain transactions are sitting and some adjustments that she'd like me to make. We're working on that. And then everything else is just, we're running full steam. We've been really busy, and everybody in the office has been working hard, so I really appreciate Linda and Charlie. They've held my hand through a few things that I'm still trying to get figured out, and they've really been a lot of help to me, as you can see by the preparation for this meeting and all the last-minute movements before we started. Doing it on my own, I'm not quite there, so we're getting closer. Everything else is going really well.
Any questions? Right. Public Works Manager's report.
Okay, since he's not here, he gave me a list, and it should be in the supporting documents. Everybody should have a copy of it as well. The biggest things he hit on was, on the last meeting, we talked a lot about the street lights. He got the Lincoln County Power District came in and covered every one of those lights and got all of them up and working that were talked about, minus the two that are in the center of Rose Park. But that's because the trucks couldn't get in there to go look at them. They were afraid they would get stuck due to the water that's on the lawn, and they said we'd recommend waiting till winter time to mess with those two lights, find out what those are. Unfortunately, the weeds have not been addressed very much this week. They've had a lot of other equipment breakdown. The sewer plant has had some more problems with the bar screen there, and so they've been having to work on that. And then they're continuing the work at Battleborn Butcher Block down there, which is becoming extremely time consuming to them. And so they've put the weed clearing off this week and haven't really moved forward on that. They also put the stop sign up on B Street, and they made an inventory of all the street signs that are missing throughout town and are getting those signs ordered and ready to go there. They installed a new electric meter at the VFW. I guess it was an old meter and was not accurate, so they replaced that. And then other than that, the parks, those guys are doing as always and keeping up on the mowing. It's looking good. They've also been replacing some more sprinklers and keeping those fixed and moving forward there. And those guys installed new outlets at the pavilion at the Super Park for the upcoming Bike Fest that's coming in October, so that they're ahead of the schedule on that. One of the items of concern that he has with the parks that we need to start budgeting for is the big zero-turn mower. Has had a lot of repairs this year. It's been down quite a few times and had quite a bit of expensive repairs. And because of that, this year it's been quite costly. The little zero-turn lawnmower has seen a lot more use, and so it's wearing out at a quicker rate and they're starting to see failures on it. And so he's kind of looking and wanting to put in the budget and start thinking of how we're going to afford to replace another lawnmower this year in that work there. And so they're working on those things and moving forward, but other than that, all is pretty decent right now.
Do you know, you probably don't, you said the street signs, they did an inventory on the ones that were missing, or ones that are actually in need of repair as well? Is that the same
It's in
thing?
need of, same thing.
Okay.
In need of repair and needs replacing, so.
Okay, because there's several that need repair, but when you said missing, I was just wondering if it's the same. So that's all I had. Maybe you didn't know.
No, they took track of both of those, so anything that needs repaired and anything that needs replaced and is missing, they're gonna take care of it.
Any questions? All right. Discussion of legal issues. Mr. Katsky.
Yeah, so last time I talked about the track exchange program coming in with Sheriff Lee. I got a call from Sheriff Lee last week. He's gone this week, I believe. And so he wanted to do the community forum. I already talked to Craig about this and the mayor on September 28th, right? And that's a Tuesday. And then they wanted to be put on for the regular agenda on October 7th, I believe. So that's when that's going to happen. Didn't just get missed this time. They asked us to move it back. That's about all I have for right now.
The public forum for that, well, is that where some citizens have already approached me about, well, where they will put this vending machine? Is that their opportunity to voice opposition?
Yeah, and they can ask questions. TrackView will be here, Sheriff Lee will be here to talk about how other communities have done it and I guess the increase in safety that other communities have. I had a good conversation with Sheriff Lee on Tuesday morning about places like Eureka and Elko, that they've done similar things and they've seen safety go up. And Sheriff Lee knows a lot more about that and he can talk to you about that.
I just think we need to keep in mind that if we're restoring the depot as this starts coming down, if we want it in front of, that's what the forum would be for. So some concerned citizens have already talked to me.
Right.
And I couldn't answer that question. I just said, well, come to the public forum and they should be able to fill you in.
On the 28th is when they plan on having it. Again, TrackV and Sheriff Lee will be here to talk about that.
Okay, all right.
I won't be able to answer probably, but you can, because Sheriff Lee and TrackV know a lot more about it.
Can I ask you to come up here? Because sorry.
Way to go.
Yeah, I I don't know.
Well, I have to.
First of all, that's private property. They'd have to approach private property owners about that.
Okay. or
But
by-
Sheriff Lee and Track B would be able to discuss why someplace like the depot instead
Because
of the
that's the
pharmacy.
biggest gripe is putting it by the depot.
I don't know that they're actually said that's exactly where they want to put it. I think that was
Yeah.
just what was,
Yeah, that's
throw it out there
just a
first thing.
conversation that I have with Sheriff Lee,
Okay.
but,
Well, that's the uproar is, this is a historical place. We've got tourists,
right,
it might be needed, but
yeah. So, yeah, come on the 28th and ask Sheriff and Track B that, they'll be able to answer those questions.
okay, I just thought maybe you'd know why the depot.
No, I was just asked to pass on the message. I don't know much about the program.
I'm not gonna hold you up on this, but this is just something, perhaps food for
So,
thought.
this is the legal report. Maybe we should wait to
Yeah.
the public comment section?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's it for legal issues, but I'm sure Ken Dixon has something he wants to say, and I've got nothing else this evening.
Okay, you got any questions for him?
I've got a couple of items I need to bring up.
Is this on the legal or,
Is this the building inspector report?
Building inspector's report.
okay, let's,
Just a minute, we'll get this over with. No questions for our attorney? Okay, then we'll move on to the building inspector's report.
Okay, the Shady Motel Administration Building is moving right along. It's gonna be finished pretty much on schedule, looks like. It should be up and running by the end of next month. If you haven't noticed, over by the Mini Street Apartments, also known as the old Caliente Apartments, they've been doing some concrete work and dirt work over there to bring it up to specifications for the FEMA report, so they can go ahead and get their financing done. I talked with them this afternoon, and they're on schedule. They should have this ready for FEMA to give us an okay on by the end of this month. We had a drop dead date of the 30th. The owner, the new owner, or will be the new owner, has asked for an extension on that, and it looks like the state and FEMA are gonna issue it. They've stipulated what needed to be done, and that's what they're working on right now. So it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Hopefully we'll be able to get them to working on the actual renovation of the apartments before the end of next month. Has anybody got any questions on that issue?
will you just clarify for my sake exactly what the project is and where it's coming from, just so I can make sure I get that down right?
The drop dead date currently is the 30th of September.
What's the project? I mean, who's responsible for the project? Is this the private owner?
It's the new owner's project to renovate all the apartments.
Okay,
There's 32 of them, 30 apartments and some shop areas that they're gonna renovate and bring up to the current code. And it's something that really needs to be done.
It's actually a complete renovation of the whole place out there, all the rooms and the
Yeah.
outside of the buildings, everything. So it's supposed, cement work. They're doing a whole pile of stuff out there. It's all private deal. They're getting it through, I believe, HUD, through the government. I think is what it is. It's a low income deal.
and I know I keep saying this, but if you're gonna ask a question or a comment from out here, it is really hard when I go back to record everything, because then I just get half of a conversation. I don't mind at all if you want to come up and ask a question, but if you would please come up to the microphone, that would be super helpful.
And that's my problem too. I keep forgetting to have people come forward.
Quit answering their questions unless they ask them right there, would you?
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like that is gonna happen eventually. Hopefully they'll start work over there this year in earnest. They've gotta move the people that are in the apartments, that are gonna be renovated. Still haven't crossed that bridge yet, but they've got some things working on it as well. The only other issue that is looking at us is on the weed control stuff that didn't get finished yesterday in the planning commission meeting. Mainly because we cannot find, this is really weird, we cannot find the legal owners of about half of the city. We can't find their mailing addresses. It has disappeared in the city or the county records keeping. And we don't have a way to find it as yet. I've sent the mayor an email asking if we can go ahead as a city entity and have Sunrise, who did the original mapping service for the county. They have done the city zoning service. We have a map up there hanging on the wall, and Sunrise completed for us. What I'm asking them for is a quote on what it will cost the city to bring that map up to date as far as addresses are concerned. If we want to go look up a city address, it'll be on that map. The zoning will be on that map. And also the legal owner of the parcels in the city will also be on that map. So when we need to find that information, we only have one issue, one place to go to find it. You know, we can't keep dependent, and it's the county responsibility to maintain this kind of service, but they're not doing it. Right now, they've assigned their IT guy to take care of it. Well, it's somebody with more expertise is required to do that than the IT guy they have now. So that's why I'd like to get Sunrise involved in it. And as soon as I can get a number on what it's gonna cost, then I'll bring it back before the board. But in the meantime, we can't send out our written certified notices to the property owners that are in violation of ordinance 138 on both weeds, trash, junk, all that other stuff, until we can get a correct mailing address for them. It's a waste of our efforts to try to do this.
So Kane, you're saying the parcel, the assessor's map from the county, the parcel, you know who owns it, but we have no way to send it to their residents? Because we know who owns the property based on the assessor's parcel maps, right? They use it all the time. We know who owns the properties, but you're saying we don't know how to reach them?
County recorder's office knows who owns
And
the
they won't.
properties. And you cannot go on the internet and find that on the internet. You have to go directly to the county recorder's office to find out what the mailing address is.
That's
for
what I'm saying, we don't have the
property owner.
mailing.
Seeing with our bills now. So it's being taken care of.
But yeah, just
But
to
I've heard that
clarify.
story before too.
Clarify, yeah, Charlie actually went through the entire list. I think she finished that today and got every mailing address that we have where we know who the owner is. Where there's a question, we've compiled that list and we'll be sending that to the county, I believe, to try to have them identify
Yeah.
those
And
mailing
that was
addresses.
because I did a little backdoor political stuff to get that to happen. And I asked Linda to have Charlie follow up with that, and I think you're aware of that. I didn't try to go around, it's actually part of your duties, and I didn't want to go around it, but I know you're covered up. So I kind of did a little backdoor maneuvering to get that in action, because we need to get it done.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. You had me confused for a minute.
Mailing address is what we.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. You lost me a little bit, but I know what you're saying now.
Yeah. But we're doing our best to get on top of it and get that information as quickly as possible. But we still need to look at our own system to come up with that information. And when we get the dollar amount, then I'll bring it back to you with what it's actually gonna cost. And other than that, that's enough for me. Unless you guys got some questions.
Not more.
For me to, I brought this up last meeting, Jamin, and you weren't here. So my concern is, if the city is finally gonna put their foot down about weed control and garbage yards, you've got one of the worst in town. I'm sorry, but that's just it. So how can the city have any pull with anybody if a sitting city councilman's yard is bad?
I'm a citizen just like you,
Right.
and I have rights.
Don't you have to comply with the law?
Did I say I didn't have to?
No, but you've got like 7 cars parked in your yard and the oil from your yard, your cars are dripping down into the soil. 1 drop of oil contaminates 10,000 gallons of water. So, you know, the situation is everybody wants the city to be better. How do you begin to be better if you're not setting the example as the people in charge of the city? I'm not trying to be ornery, I'm just stating a simple fact.
Well, if I can interject something here, and I'm not
Just-
trying to step
Hold on,
on.
just a sec. Let's stop. Just a sec.
Still the business.
So this is the building inspector's report. I'm sorry, Eve, if you're gonna make
Brought
comments.
up the weed
but-
stuff.
Okay, but you need to come up during the public comment section.
Okay.
And then you can make a public comment. We'll give you 3 minutes and then we'll go from there. Yep.
I appreciate it very much.
Okay, do we have any questions for Ken?
I also have some questions about the park mounting, so tell me when that's gonna be appropriate as well.
If you'll come up and say that.
We'll
In
just wait
public
till
comment.
Public comment. We'll give her 3 minutes on her public comment.
Oh, it might take longer than 3. You can have mine.
That's actually not allowed either, but just for the record.
Okay,
Still on
discussion of issues related to public safety. We don't have the sheriff's office here or the fire chief. Do we have any questions on that or any comments? Okay, we'll move on. Discussion of council members' responsibilities, Parks and Beautification Committee, Mr. Fitzsimons.
Okay, just broken record here. We still haven't had a beautification meeting since our last council meeting. It is coming up on Tuesday, right? I think next Tuesday, the 21st. Okay, so that's when our next beautification meeting is. The ladies or the committee did put out the flags for Labor Day. They've got some big plans for the traffic island here for the fall. There's gonna be some scarecrows and stuff, I'm told. The marquee, we mentioned that last time. It's been a big hit, putting people's birthdays and anniversaries and congratulations. And when there isn't birthdays, they put stuff like the local football game tomorrow night. So that's always been them. Grant's not here. I was gonna tell him, good job on the stop signs on B Street. That was a couple weeks ago, but we got that done, or they got that done. Couple of things. I know we put the flags out for Labor Day. I'm driving home from work on 9/11, and I see that the city had put the 9/11 flag up on the big flag there, the little tiny one. And it just hit me that beautification just dropped the ball on that Patriot Day to put out flags as well. So I will make sure that that never happens again, because I think on 9/11, Patriot Day, the flag should have been out. So I apologize on behalf of beautification for that. A couple things about the parks. I've been asked by a couple citizens, again, I'll bring it up with Grant later, about putting some these doggy bag dispensers. Now, we have those on the walking path. We finally got one out at the super park, I think. But now the folks want to put 1 or 2 on the Highway 93 stretch here. I don't know if, we can put one in the middle or one on either side. And I realize some of these dogs that are doing their business are roaming dogs. Like, most responsible owners pick up after themselves, but visitors or taking picture of the depot or something, and I think if there's bag dispensers there, they're pretty inexpensive, I would think. So I just wanted to bring that up as far as the parks. I was gonna bring it up to Grant, but I'll talk to him later about that. Other than that, I guess that's all I have. Short and sweet, but I'll have more in our October meeting, because like I said, we're meeting on Tuesday as beautification.
Any questions for Sean? Okay. Community Development and Planning, Councilman Rouse not here tonight. We have anything, anybody have anything on that? Okay. Tourism Boxcar Museum, Joe's not here tonight either. We have anything on that?
Don't see any representatives.
Okay. Public Utilities, Mr. Hunter?
I gave most all I needed to report there.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Hunter? All right. I've got a couple of things. I've had some complaints about the weeds in the big blot next to the senior housing out there. They're just worried that when that dries out, it's gonna be a big fire hazard out there alongside of the buildings. And anyway, I had a couple people call me on that, ask about it. So that's, I don't know if you got that on your list or not, it probably is.
It most definitely is on the list.
And I explained that to those people also, that I thought it was gonna be there. And then I also had a request, you was talking about the doggy disposal bags, that out at the senior center, the housing out there, they've got dogs and there's stuff all over the lawns and stuff out there, and they wanted to know about being able to purchase some of those bags from the city to use, because they can't find them where they can get them. And so what they told me is, well, we're stealing them. Said, we go down to buy the other place and we take 4 or 5 of them out of your other machines and use them. So I thought maybe we might look and see if we have a,
Might interject one thing here. On the new apartment building, there are provisions for bags over there as well.
Okay.
And they're on the plan. I saw the plan. Haven't issued a permit for anything yet, because the permit will be issued to the new owners. But that is being addressed there, and it's in with my purview, since that is the same owner, to put the heat on them.
it is the
Get some
same,
over
it is the
there.
same owner?
Yes,
Okay, then that's a good place we can start.
yep.
I'll talk to the guy and we'll,
And they're more
Do
than
it.
willing to cooperate.
yeah, after the meetings I've had with them, I don't think there'd be a problem. I think they would do that. I didn't realize it was the same people. On Monday, we had, there was a meeting here. Sheriff Lombardo from the Clark County Sheriff was here. He's running for governor, and he made a stop. He wanted to talk to the mayor and the city, or the county commission. We had them and a couple of guys come in and discussed it. The paper was here. I think they took some pictures and probably got a little article coming out in the paper on that. Seemed to be pretty concerned about things in the rural Nevada. He's gonna do some touring around and talk to places, so that's a little more than we've seen from our present governor. But anyway, we also, UNR is looking to put in a 4-H camp. I know you've probably heard this before in the past, that they're gonna put in a 4-H camp, which would be like a summer camp where they could bring groups into, for 4 or 5 days or whatever it is they have for their camps. Anyway, they're looking at several different places. One place they're looking at is real serious, is at the fairgrounds there in Panaca. They're also looking at a place up in Pioche and a place in out at Beaver Dam. And Alamo also has a spot that's down south of Alamo, which they were that was kind of at the bottom of their list because it's more like Las Vegas desert than they wanted to be, kind of more in the mountains and up this way. Anyway, they're coming to make an inspection here. I thought I had the date down here, but I don't have a date on it. But they're coming up, do a tour of that and an inspection, and I will talk with these people when they come up.
You
If
can't
anybody has
convince
any
them?
ideas,
Can't convince them to purchase that Dude Ranch down Rainbow Canyon?
that would be a good deal. That might be a good deal. And anyway, I'll do some talking when they come up, talk to them on that. They're having a photo fest coming up. That starts tomorrow. And it'll go this weekend. They'll meet here at the depot, I guess, about 7:30 in the morning before they disperse and do their thing. I think they have several different people doing some training and stuff. They'll go to Pioche, and I don't know where all are going, different places. That's going on this weekend. We also have the Bicycle Fest coming up on, October 2nd. So that'll bring in some people. So far, they haven't had as many sign up as what they've had in the past. I think they've got only, as of yesterday, they got, I think, 52 people signed up for that event. Last time, I think they had like 150 people signed up for it. But most of that all come in that last day or so. So that should bring in some people. What else do we got here? I got a meeting coming up with League of Cities on the 24th. I had a meeting with the Habitat Conservation meeting last Wednesday. I've been busy running around doing all this stuff. I don't know how much it's gonna help in the city, but it's getting me involved with stuff anyway. I don't have anything else. Anybody have any questions for me? Okay. Public comment related to any matters concerning the city of Caliente.
Now's
This is your time.
now's your time to shine.
3 minutes.
Any time you think that I need to be quiet, then I'll just schedule everything for action on the next agenda. So if I'm gonna take too long, let me know, and we'll figure out another way to do it. Won't hold everybody up. So there were a couple of items, of course, that you brought up, and one of them is the HUD housing. That's a pet peeve with me. The low-income housing has done nothing but destroy Caliente. So the drug situation out there is pretty bad. So I went out to talk to people out there, the people who are running it. And of course, the lady, she was real sweet, and she didn't have any information. So then she gave me a number for the next level manager, and I called her 3 times, and you can't reach anyone, okay? They're out of Reno. You cannot reach anyone to talk to them. So then the next person, Robert Nielsen, is the owner of the complex. And I called him, and of course, there's no answer. So, I have some questions. So one of them, we aren't liable for any money. Is that correct? No money whatsoever. We're not dumping anything into that. So are you aware that there's absolutely no emergency contact number listed anywhere? No, none of the residents have it. I went and knocked on doors. They don't have any emergency numbers to contact anyone. So then I called the police department. The police department has no emergency contact number. How is that possible? I mean, shouldn't there be a way? I mean, in the event that there is some serious, which we've already had a death out there, so, I mean, these are things that need to be looked at. Does the city have any involvement with these people? What is the policy for drug offenders at the apartments? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 strikes and maybe you're out? Or is it if you are caught, if you are arrested, if you are this, if you are that, you are out? We don't need that in Caliente. We don't need that. We've got such a horrific problem at this point. I don't know why we're making it so much easier for them. So these are just questions that I have. So I found out most of this stuff on my own. So they're not going to talk to me. can the city council contact these people and have a chat with them?
I don't know, if you can't get hold of them, maybe we can't either, I don't know.
Well, if you give your name as the chairman, I'm sure that somebody might respond to you, but I think these are huge issues. You know, along with this vending machine they're gonna set up to make it easier for kids to take drugs, and here, go grab this and get better. I mean, all of this falls, there are reports out there about low-income housing and what it does to cities. And we're living proof. So there's that. So I'd kind of like to get a discussion going about that. So weeds, may I go on to weeds? Who owns the property behind Kathy Tennell?
I believe Cole Bradshaw.
So Cole Bradshaw, does he own it or is it in the name of the church?
I wouldn't know. I would,
Are they liable to clean up those weeds since they own that property? Because
You would think.
if that dries out and catches on fire, Kathy's house is there. Yeah, you guys know, right? So then we already discussed Jamin. I'll go on to that. And then I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to cause problems, but that's okay if they do. I had called and talked to Ken about, because he was not feeling well, and I was just curious if they're prepping somebody for the building inspector. And then I talked to Linda, and Linda told me that her fiance is taking classes. So,
There's
That's
been
news to
several
me.
people ask that, and I don't know, when Ken decides wants to retire, then we'll have to consider that, but
well, right, but my question is, to Ken, I mean, I'm not pulling anything shady here.
Yep.
I mean, I'm right above board here. So, in the event that anything, if he's going to retire or something happens, then we're gonna be left with this huge gap if we don't have somebody step in. So my question was, is Linda's husband training for that position?
well,
And-
he wants to. There's nothing official on any of that stuff, no.
So then he would remain working for the city and then become a building inspector as well? We don't know.
Talk of,
Yeah,
of
there's-
him becoming building inspector.
Yeah,
yet.
there's no,
heard of
nothing
it.
we've
That's the
even talked
first
about.
I've even heard of it.
That's on his own, whatever he's doing. So,
Okay, so should we, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm going to, because like I said, the city's really needs to be cleaned up. So what do we do about your yard as a city council?
What do we do
person?
about your yard?
It's pretty clean.
Councilman, I'll just advise you not to respond at this point.
Amen.
So do we put it on the agenda for discussion or what? What happens here?
well, I think it has to go with the planning commission, with their stuff that they're doing. If that's put on the list, then it needs to be discussed.
Okay, and then
There-
so,
And I'm sure the attorney will agree with me, there are certain things in ordinance 138 that have to be done before we can even approach the owners of the property. And
I'm
when
not
that
sure.
is, and that's what we're working on. When that happens, then we will have a legal leg to stand on to talk to the owners about it.
okay, what are the rules that are on the books now?
I'm gonna pass that along to our legal counsel.
So it's under ordinance number 138 that was passed in 94. So we just have to give him, I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but you have to give him a certain amount of notice. And then after that, we can take steps to clean it up ourselves and put a lien on the land.
So where does that leave us? I don't know. Where are we?
No one's gotten notices yet.
Yep.
We're in the process of sending those out, as
So
we discussed.
what will you
before.
do if you send the notices out and they storm in here at your city council meeting and say, you have a sitting city councilman whose yard is worse than mine? Why are you targeting me? That's what's gonna happen.
We'll have to discuss that at that time, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
This is public comment, so
Is there a law or a rule in Caliente that says that you can't park your cars on the grass?
I don't know. I'd have to look up all the ordinances.
I did a lot of research on it, and it's awful what the oil does to our water. You know, so, anyway, I just wonder if there's an ordinance about.
I have no idea. I'd have to, we have literally
do-
hundreds of ordinances
So
since
if we want,
1940,
if somebody wants to
50.
make a complaint, so this complaint goes to the people, and I'm not just talking about you, goes to the people, how do we do that? How do we get the ball rolling?
You have an enforcement officer. If it violates an ordinance, then they write a citation. I don't write citations.
No, but how do you get to that point?
I'm sorry, get to what
How do
point?
you get to the point of having enforcement go?
Right, so at first you have to find a law that someone's violating, right? And once someone's violating that law, an enforcement agency will write a citation.
Oh, okay.
And once the citation's written, then there'll be a court date on there, and they either pay or appear at a court date, and then they can plead guilty or not guilty, and then there'll be a trial if they plead not guilty. It's just kind of like any other crime, I guess, but it would be a citation or a very low misdemeanor.
But where's the form that gets you to that point?
There's no form, you would have to report it to the enforcement agency,
Okay.
and the enforcement agency would determine if a law's been broken, and if a law has been broken, they would write the citation.
Okay, all right, thanks.
We have any other public comment? If not, adjourn this meeting.